A warning from a lawyers group, the Connecticut Bar Association. The warning is directed at lawyers who dare to speak out and express disdain for fairness of former President Donald Trump's trial in New York. On Friday, the Connecticut Bar Association released this message. It reads in part, quote, "Public officials have issued statements claiming that the trial was a sham, a hoax, and rigged. Our justice system is corrupt and rigged. The judge was corrupt and highly unethical, and that the jury was partisan and pre-cooked." It goes on, quote, "These claims are unsubstantiated and reckless. Such statements can provoke acts of violence against those serving the public as employees of the judicial branch." The Connecticut Bar Association goes on further, quote, "It's up to us as lawyers to defend the courts and our judges as individuals and as an association. We cannot let the charged political climate in which we live dismantle the third branch of government," end quote. By the way, criticism of the judicial system, besides being protected by the First Amendment, is certainly not new. Here's a sample. Back in March 2020, the United States Supreme Court, the highest court, heard arguments in its first major abortion case since Trump appointed Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch joining the bench. During those arguments, then Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, now Majority Leader, spoke outside the Supreme Court at an abortion rights rally. He said this.
"I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions."
Well, as far as I could find, the Connecticut Bar Association did not have anything to say about those critical remarks. As an aside, there is a First Amendment right to be rude and to criticize, and you would think a lawyers group would know that. Former Assistant United States Attorney, former federal prosecutor Jonathan Fahey joins me. Boy, now the bar associations are the words police. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's really alarming, and it's really chilling if you think about it. And a lot of people in your audience may not know how much of an impact these bar associations could have on lawyers. They affect whether or not you can have a license, whether your license could be suspended and you lose the ability to earn a living. So this is really chilling. They have something in this letter about protecting free speech, but then they go on to say basically everything that Donald Trump says is sort of out of bounds, but it's perfectly acceptable to publicly support this case and the judicial system. And it is pretty amazing because you played that clip of Senator Schumer, which by a lot of objective standards, a lot of people consider that an actual threat. But putting that aside, the Democratic Party has gone an all-out verbally attacking the Supreme Court, delegitimizing the Supreme Court after the Dobbs decision. And we have people talking about flags and Justice Alito's, how they're flying them there. And it's just insanely hypocritical.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Jonathan, I think of the Bar Association, you're right, it has a lot of power over us, but it's really a little bit like student council. I mean, it's like, it's just a club. I mean, unfortunately, they have a lot of authority over it. But you think if the Connecticut Bar Association had so much time on their hands, instead of trying to stomp on First Amendment rights for things that they don't like being said, wouldn't you think that they would stand up for something so simple as, in New York State, right next door, if once convicted, when a defendant goes to meet with a probation officer, we could say all sorts of things that could help you if you win on appeal, you have to get permission from the judge to have your lawyer present. Wouldn't you think that this Bar Association, if it's got so much time on its hands, would worry more about things like that?
You would think so. Typically, bar associations and legal associations are very concerned about protecting individuals' rights and individuals' liberty, and particularly in criminal defense cases, which is really the most shocking thing about this case. Were all these groups standing up for President Trump because they should be standing up for an individual being treated unfairly and certainly differently than similarly situated people, and they've been totally silent on that, which is really concerning. And I agree with you, the bar associations are looked at like that, but lawyers do fear what, if they get in their crosshairs, how it can affect, their ability to earn a living. So it really is scary. And, it is like, why are they weighing in on this? They're weighing in for political reasons. They're saying President Trump
which is what I'm saying is that they have way too much power. They're like a student council. They're like a club where they all sit around and meet and have bar picnics. But even more than that, if they've got so much time in their hands, why weren't they defending the lawyer down in Atlanta who got jailed by the judge the last week? That was just outrageous.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Yeah, spend their time defending fellow lawyers practicing law in an area where, I don't know all the facts, but certainly where a judge seemed quite heavy-handed. And where are they defending that lawyer or other people out there? There's so many good things these bar associations can be doing. So many people that need representation. So many indigent people, and just to weigh in, and they're weighing in for political reasons, and everyone knows it. And this idea that this case isn't political, we all know. This beaten is from the death, but everyone knows it.
And so is the Connecticut Bar Association issuing that. Jonathan Fahey, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.